Des Hashem kol goyim Shabbat chidi kalodi men Kiduva Uvelayini Uvelama vayni chastoy Bene yemes Al vachevevim Bene yobo vaylo malelikon.
Hello everyone, I'm happy to start a new series today about using musical instruments for davening. It has become more and more popular in the last few years, and I'd like to ask, is it permitted? Is it not? So let's take a step back and just look at the data that we all say every day and every week. And it seems like there are musical instruments used in the temple for the sacrificial work. So what could be more appropriate than using it in davening? We say in the davening in a Shir Shel Yom on Thursday, and then we say the word Se'u Zimra Utnu Tov, give a song and give a bop on the drum, Kinor Naim Im Navel. A violin is so pleasant with a harp. We say in the Shir Shel Yom of Shabbos, that we say Friday night, we say Shabbos morning, at least 3 times over Shabbos, we say the words Alei Asor va'alei Navel, Alei Higayon Bechinor. Upon a 10-stringed harp and upon a psaltery, some sort of a stringed instrument, you shall bring up the words with a harp. We say Zamrula Hashem Bechinor Bechinor Vekol Zimra on the Kabbalah Shabbos. Not to mention every single morning, even if you come late to shul, you must say 2 of the Hallelujahs, and one of them is Hallelujah B'Teka Shofar, Hallelujah B'Neva V'Chinor, Hallelujah B'Tov Machol, Hallelujah B'Bni Mugav, Hallelujah B'Titzalei Shama, Hallelujah B'Titzalei Torah. Almost every musical instrument is in there. And just in case you weren't convinced, indeed, the Gemara says in Masechet Erechim, page 10b into 11a, Magrifa הייתה במקדש, 10 נקבים היו בה, כל אחד ואחד מוציא 10 מיני זמר. There was some sort of an instrument in the Beis HaMikdash called a Magrifa, with 10 pipes coming out of it, and each pipe gave a different note. And the Rambam indeed codifies in Hilchot Klei HaMikdash, Perek Gimel Halacha Dalet, Bameh Hayu Menagnim, how would they play in the Beis HaMikdash, B'nevalim v'chalalim v'chinarot v'chatzotzot v'hatzatz. So we know very clearly that musical instruments were used in the temple and used in the service of God. The Pesukim in Divrei Hayamim you see on the screen says exactly how many thousands of instruments were donated to the temple and used. Number 2 is singing is a good thing when serving God. The same Gemara in Erechim, page 11, says, Minayin li'ikar shira min haTorah. How do we know that we need to have a song when we serve God in the temple? And then it asks, Minayin she'en omrim shira ela al hayayin. You only say it when you pour the wine libations on the temple. And eventually it says that one of the psukim is, Moshe yedaber v'Elokim ya'anenu b'kol. Moshe will talk and God will amplify his voice at Har Sinai. The Gemara learns, Al Iskei Kol, explains Rashi, She'ametzavel l'shorer lifnei sheMoshe Levi haya. God commanded Moshe to sing because Moshe was a Levi and Leviim should sing. And indeed, the Shla says in the name of the Sefer Charedim, Derech HaChoshek L'shorer. If you yearn for something, you sing about it. V'kevan she'avat yotzrinu nifla'a mi'avat nashim. And because we love God, ha'ohev oto b'lev shalem, Yashir lefanav yitbarach. If you love God so much, you'll sing before Him. Just like Jewish people at the Sea of Reeds, just like Devorah did, just like Yehoshua did, Bnei Korach did, etc., etc. Nishchai codifies that Hallel has to be said in a certain way. Amongst them, Lo'amor b'simcha uvenachat uvekol rina v'toda. To say it with happiness, to say it slowly, and to say it with a song and with a thanksgiving tune. From this perspective, song is very much part of our prayer before God, as well as musical instruments. So therefore, it's hard to see a question over here. And indeed, the Medrash says, Kama yigiyot yaga ben Amram actually met shira levihim. It was so important that Moshe Rabbeinu worked so hard to teach the Levim how to sing. Of course, you have to be careful that you're singing before God and not just to show off your voice. The Rashba, in a famous response, was asked about a chazan that sings, but he's doing it for showing off his voice. And he says, bottom line is, if the chazan is doing it in order to properly pray to God and get everyone elevated, then it's beautiful. But if he loves his voice and he loves that the people love his voice and they're all going to compliment him, and that's the only reason that he's doing it, that's a terrible thing. And indeed, he ends by saying, and if you make davening longer, it's not a good thing, and that's what the Shulchan Aruch paskins. If someone takes a long davening because he has a nice voice, if he's doing it to use the best of his voice to sing before God, it's beautiful. But if you're only doing it to show off his voice, it's a terrible thing. So what changed? Why should there even be a question about using musical instruments and song in the service of God? Well, first of all, we had a destruction of a temple. And indeed, the Shulchan Aruch paskins that after the destruction of the temple, there were various enactments. One of them is that you should not have musical instruments when you drink wine. In his words, however, he does say, it's already our minhag, you can even have wine in the room as long as you're praising and thanking God, such as at a wedding and many other examples. And indeed, the Rama adds, Mitzva, for the sake of a mitzvah, like the Beit Chasen Dekala, if you're at a wedding or a Sheva Brachos. So definitely, that's okay if you're doing it for the right reasons, and for a mitzvah, even after the destruction of the temple. Having said that, a musical instrument in a shul created a huge controversy in the years 1818, 1819 approximately, forcing Rav David Tzvi Hoffman to write a major responsum, bringing the 3 points of view about an organ in a shul specifically, but from our perspective, using any musical instrument in a shul. What changed? We'll have to see in the next podcast.